What a day. It's been a big one. Another big one. um, I'm in Belgium. I'm in a town of, not sure how many people, but it's called Namur. So I I started at Maastricht this morning. We're pretty close to there anyway, in that little campsite. Well, it wasn't really a little one, it was quite a big one actually. And and kind of had this goal of getting to Namur today, which was about 110 kilometers or so from where I started. And I kind of figured, it's pretty flat. The weather's been good. I was trying to start a bit earlier, so there wasn't any real reason why I couldn't get here. So I thought I'd try and do that, and yeah, feeling probably 95% recovered now from the cold, so energy levels were good and felt like I could power through it. And yeah, well, I did, but it was a long day, and the sun's been. I mean, it seems like summer is here because the sun has just been bearing down on me full force the last couple of days. Again, it was like 30, at least 30 all day today, which was great actually. Like I really like it. But yeah, man, I'm just gonna be red from now on. I think that's my new look. I'm not sure this is gonna go away unless I get a nice big hat, which I don't think is gonna happen. Um, but yeah, I woke up at like 4 o'clock this morning to the sound of like quite hard rain on my tent, and actually there was a few drops of rain coming through the tent and dripping onto my head, which was a bit concerning. I was hoping the tent would be a bit more waterproof than it has proved to be actually. And yeah, I had some trouble falling back to sleep because I was worried. All right, great, and I'm gonna have to spend another day cycling in the rain and all this. But actually, I fell back to sleep and I woke up again at about 7:30, and the rain had stopped actually, and by some miracle, like I managed to kind of pack up, and I still had breakfast like after I had left. So I packed up and left, and then stopped for breakfast in Maastricht. But somehow I managed to dry my tent pretty much completely by the time I set off. So that was, yeah, a bit of a miracle considering it was drenched when I woke up. But yeah, I did that, and then yeah, entered Maastricht pretty shortly after that, as I was quite close. And gosh, it's a really beautiful little town actually. Like very European, like cobblestone everywhere, and like the old like European style like alleyways and buildings and stuff. It was a really nice place. And actually, when I got there, I was thinking to myself, oh, this place is beautiful. Like I got to look up what it's called on the map. And then of course I realized, oh, this is Maastricht, you idiot. Like you're right next to it. So and I did really consider stopping there and having some breakfast at one of the cafes, but the I don't know, the tight ass in me thought, well, I've been carrying all this food with me, I may as well eat it. So I went to the park and sat and I had breakfast in the park, which was quite pleasant and gave me a bit of chance to dry out some of my clothes, which are still a bit wet from the night before. Um, but interestingly, as I was like riding into the park, I saw a big enclosure, and in the enclosure was a girl like kneeling down, and a giraffe, and I was like, "What? Why is there a giraffe in Holland? What's going on here?" And so I cycled up, and I realized that the giraffe was actually a statue, and so was the girl actually. And all around the enclosure, it was circular, were all these little animals, which I believe were animals which had gone extinct. So I'm not exactly sure what the giraffe and the girl was supposed to be symbolizing. Maybe that the giraffe was going to go extinct soon. I'm not sure. But there was a Tasmanian tiger in the enclosure as well. So that's how I kind of realised that the animals were either endangered or they were extinct in this enclosure. Anyway, I don't really know what it was about, but it was interesting. And then at this point, like my route had ended because it was finishing in my street. So I was like, oh, where do I go now? So I checked the map again, and I started the new route, which was Maastricht to Namur, which I had kind of planned the evening before, and kind of set off with that goal of about 100 kilometers or so to get to Namur. Um, and and I was feeling good, but to be honest, like the first like few hours in the morning, I was quite annoyed still about the whole thing with the campsite, having paid about $60 just to pitch my tent. And I did have a chat with the receptionist in the morning when I was checking out. You know, I was like saying, well, I think I've been overcharged. Like, can't you just charge me the rate for a regular tent? Because they put me on a caravan site with power and all that stuff. And she basically refused to do it. So she's like, there's nothing I can do, etc. That just really pissed me off because she could have just charged me for a tent. Like, it wouldn't have, that would have been the nice thing to do. And she could have easily done it, but she didn't. She charged me for a freaking caravan. So I was just annoyed about that, to be honest. And I kept telling myself, oh, don't be annoyed. Like, it's just money. Don't worry about it. Like, in like a couple of days' time, you won't even be thinking about this. Like, just enjoy the day, all this stuff. And I just kept coming back to it. I just couldn't get past it. And eventually, I had a bit of a moment when I was sitting down for a second, and I just kind of realized, you know what? It's okay to be upset about it. It's fine. Just be upset about it, and then move on. And once I realized that it was okay for me to be upset about it, and I was able to just accept that I was upset about it, then actually I stopped thinking about it. I didn't think about it again for the rest of the day until right now. So now I feel fine about it. And actually, sillily enough, I didn't really have internet connection on my phone in Belgium either. But when I did manage to get some connection, I ended up booking this Airbnb, which I'm in now, which is just a small hotel style room, which was about $100. And I think this was the first hotel I booked for the whole trip, actually. Besides this, I've stayed with friends or I've been tenting, I'd say 80% of the time. And I stayed a couple of nights in a hostel when I arrived in Oslo at the start. But pretty much it's just been mainly tenting. This is the first kind of private room I've had to myself. And I was hoping to make a bit more use of it, but I didn't really get here until 9 o'clock, so I haven't had time to do much. But yeah, like I guess I was it's just silly. Like, I was annoyed about having to pay so much for my tent, and then I ended up paying for a hotel room. I don't know. My brain is stupid. Um, so yeah, once I got over that, I actually soon passed over the Belgian border, and that was really cool. Actually, it was, this is country number 6, um, and language number 6 as well. I do know a very very small amount of French from high school, but gosh, I have to go back into the archives, the old brain bank, to try and pull out some of those verbs, and it's not working very well at the moment. So yeah, I kind of struggled when I was at dinner tonight, because people here don't seem to take well to being asked if they speak English. And I wonder if that's going to continue when I move into France. I suspect so. So I should try and remember a few phrases, I think. Um, but yeah, it was interesting. Like, I moved across the border into Belgium, um, and there was a huge like dike on the border. I guess for like boats crossing between the countries, which was quite cool. and there was a giant like barge which was about to go through, and it had the name Amy on the front. So of course it made me think of my friend Amy. But yeah, once I crossed over into Belgium, there was actually very little difference between the countries, except for the fact that people were speaking French. As soon as I crossed the border, the signs were in French and the people were speaking French. So that was interesting. That was kind of the only difference. Um, Culturally, they things seemed pretty much the same. Anyway, yeah, I ended up following the Maas River pretty much all day. Once I got into Belgium, the route just was alongside of the river, basically for the next like 60 or 70 kilometers or so, which was really nice. It was a really nice ride, and um, very flat and straight. You know, not too much to say really. It was just pleasant. Other than the fact the sun was just beating down on me all day. And there was quite a few other people cycling, like road touring and stuff, which is cool to see. But it's become so common these days. I don't even really make a note of it anymore. I know when I started in Norway, I was like really excited to see every cycle traveler I found. But now there's so many of them, I just don't even care anymore. But the sad thing is, most of them are like kind of um, old people, and it's not sad that old people are cycling, but it's sad that there's not any young people doing this too. Um, yeah, there's hardly any young people, and hardly any people by themselves either. At least not my age. Um, yeah, which reminds me, I chatted to a Dutch couple the day before yesterday, I think it was, and they were traveling together. They were on e-bikes, and they were in their 70s and 80s actually, which was awesome. And they're like, "Oh, you're going all the way to Turkey by yourself? Like, how could you do that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's there's good parts and there's bad parts." And she was like, "Oh, that's why we cycle together. We could never be alone." I'm like, "Well, it's sometimes good to be alone." That's kind of what I thought, but um, yeah, mm, maybe that's why you get married, because you don't want to ever be alone. um, anyway, um, yeah, I won't say too much more, but yeah, I kind of ran out of food today, and I had planned to do like another supply run today, but unfortunately today ended up being a public holiday, and so all the shops were closed. And this seems to happen quite a bit. Whenever I want to do a supply run, it seems to be a public holiday or something which causes all the shops to be closed. So in the end, I ducked into, I don't know if it's called like Quick Fix or like Quick Burger or something, but it was basically just Burger King for Belgium, and I got myself like a fake chicken burger, which I'm actually not sure if it was fake chicken. It seemed pretty real to me, but I ate it, and it tasted pretty good, although it was the smallest burger I've ever seen. Um, but yeah, eventually I got to Namur, and went and got some ramen and some ice cream. And I have to say, Namur is a nice, very nice little city. Similar to my street, lots of like little cobblestone like streets and alleys, and there was like a live band playing, and everyone was kind of sitting around listening. That was really nice. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I want to see in Europe. That's kind of why I wanted to come here, for stuff like that. And yeah, I gotta say, there's a lot of good-looking girls in Belgium. Like, I don't know, like who's in charge or what, but they're doing a good job. Yeah, the girls here are looking good. Maybe I've just been by myself for too long. Um, anyway, it's bloody it's 11:20 here at the moment, and tomorrow I'm gonna start heading down. So basically, from this point, I'm heading south until I hit Rome. So I got another couple of thousand kilometers ahead of me, and that seemed like a good milestone and a good reason to get a hotel for the evening. So I've just washed all my clothes in the sink. I've had a shower. I've tried to scrub myself with all the soap I could find, feeling as clean as I will for a while. And yeah, I'm going to set out tomorrow and see how far I get. So, onwards, and thanks for listening. Bye.